But we do begin with that breaking news. The State Department now confirming to us that former Marine Trevor Reed has been released, in that prisoner swap while he was being held in a Russian prison last year, has been injured while fighting in Ukraine. American officials now saying that Reed is receiving medical care in Germany and that he was transported there with the help of a non-governmental organization. They also say he was not in Ukraine on behalf of the United States.
I want to be explicitly clear about something. Mr. Reed was not engaged in any activities on behalf of the U.S. government. And as I indicated, we have been incredibly clear, warning American citizens, American nationals, not to travel to Ukraine, let alone participate in fighting there.
All right, well, you may remember that Reed was detained in Russia for 3 years and then freed in April of last year in exchange for that Russian pilot convicted of drug trafficking. So far, Reed's family has declined to comment. Joining me now for more, ABC's Patrick Reevell in London, also ABC News contributor and former senior CIA field operative Darrell Blocker. Patrick, let's start with you because you covered this story extensively for us. You interviewed Trevor Reed once he got back. What more are you learning about why he was in Ukraine and what was going on?
Yeah, Kira, I mean, this is honestly quite a personal story because, as you say, I covered Trevor's case for years. I was in Moscow when he was detained, and I was at his hearings very often there, and I got to know his family quite well. And I interviewed him, as you say, just a couple of weeks after he was released in that prisoner swap last year. And what we know so far is very little, frankly. We know that he's been evacuated, we believe, to Germany, where he's being treated for injuries. There's a report there's one report that suggests he may have stood on a landmine while fighting for Ukraine. That's still unconfirmed. We don't really know what condition he is in. We just know that an unnamed NGO helped evacuate him to Germany. I would say that I think Trevor, like many other hundreds, perhaps even thousands of Americans now, have decided he wanted to go over and use his military experience to try and help Ukraine fight against Vladimir Putin's regime. We don't yet know who exactly he was fighting with, which unit, but we know that he has gone over there and appears to have volunteered to try and fight against this regime that held him hostage for nearly 3 years. And clearly he's suffered some kind of injury. We don't yet know how severe it is. But obviously this will be extremely difficult for his family, who already endured a great deal while they were waiting to try and free him for that time.
So still so many questions, right? I mean, you interviewed him after his release, and you did get to know him personally. Do you have any insight or any idea to why he would do this and just put so much at risk again, right?
You know, I think obviously you don't want to speak for Trevor. As you say, yeah, this is quite a shock for me to have seen, honestly, because yes, I saw what his family went through during the period when he was held hostage. But at the same time, Trevor is a former Marine, and not only a former Marine, he was an elite Marine, a presidential guard who guarded American presidents, and who was very proud of his military background, and who was obviously an elite soldier, and who felt that he could use his skills to help Ukraine against an enemy that he also very strongly believed it was not a good regime in the world. I don't know, for sure why he went. I didn't know that he was in Ukraine, but I think if I had to say from speaking with him before, I think as I say, he's a soldier and he believed he had skills, and I think that's one of the reasons why other Marines and other soldiers have gone, because they believe that they can use these skills to try and either help Ukraine or because they have a bone to pick with Russia.
Let's take a look at just part of that interview when you sat down with him after being released.
I remember thinking, like, is this real? It feels, like you're in a dream. Maybe I'm still gonna wake up right now in solitary confinement. It takes several days for that feeling to leave you, so.
So, Darrell, just thinking about what he said in that interview with Patrick, right, and U.S. officials clearly being disappointed in this situation because they worked hard to secure his release, especially with American Paul Whelan, still behind bars in Russia. Do you think some something is going on with Trevor that, I don't know, PTS or feeling like he needs to somehow stay in the fight. What do you think's going on inside, you know, this Marine's mind?
Well, just that, Kira. He's a Marine through and through. They're used to being the ones on the front edge. You know, being in jail for 3 years, he probably learned a lot about Russians and how they think. And he thought maybe combining, you know, his experiences being in custody along with his experience of being a Marine, that would be good and valuable to the Ukrainians, and he probably was. But it does question, you know, all of the time and experience and everyone that was involved in getting him freed. I'm sure they're disappointed, but at the end of the day, he's a private citizen. He chose to go there, and hopefully he'll survive whatever wounds he's received.
And the State Department has been really clear, urging Americans not to join the fighting in Ukraine. But Darrell, you say he's a Marine. He's probably still within that mindset, but where do things go from here?
I think it's going to be difficult. I have personally visited Americans arrested in Africa, in a number of different places. There is no get out of jail free card, but he's not in jail anymore. He is a private citizen fighting for the Ukrainians, which I think is a valid thing. But his family, I'm sure, is equally disappointed in him and just waiting for him to get home, and maybe the fear of mom and dad and what he's going to face from the family is going to be worse than anything else that he has to deal with.
Patrick, I hope you get the next interview. Patrick, Darrell, thank you both very much. Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.